Hey, Goddesses and Adoni, and happy Warrior Wednesday. It's time for webinar number 6 of 6, which means this is our final learning session. Wow, went by fast. Seems like it was just yesterday. It was the September meeting. Well, thank you for your patience as we had to postpone this recording due to both Kristin Cardoso and myself losing power for a few days last week during the big storm. No fun to not have flushing toilets and running water. So, Kristin and I could not be seen without showering. So we're ready to give you what we've got today, and we're showered. So that's a big thing. Well, I'm going to say it's been an absolute joy to read about the successful parties and events in our Facebook group this past weekend. Congratulations to everyone who got out there and worked their businesses. November traditionally is one of the company's biggest months every single year. Why? Because our products make great gifts. So we have people that want to have parties to get their friends together. I mean, it's November. It's the month where people get together to celebrate friendship. I mean, it's gratitude month, and there's nothing like gathering your friends together for a sex toy party to bring on the laughter, the learning. It's just amazing what we do for people. And Susan Brent from PA, she got back to work right after she got off that ship from Bermuda, and she got right to it. She had back-to-back $1,000 parties. Congratulations, Susan. Holly Merchant from Maine rocked an $800 party on a Monday night and got herself a booking and a recruit lead this week. Christina Toe-Catley from Mass, she did 2 parties and 2 events and brought in $1,450 in sales and 5 bookings. Wow. Helen Gannon, Maribel Turcotte, Davina Dickerson, and Angela Morenzi, they all got together and did the Twin River Bridal Show where they booked 14 parties. Amazing. Lindsay Bateman from Massachusetts, she got engaged. Yay, Lindsay, congratulations. And she sold over $2,500 in the first week of November. She's got a wedding to pay for, all new motivation, right? Congratulations, Lindsay. Mandy Emery had a $1,400 party last Thursday. $1,400 on a Thursday night. Congratulations. Melissa Milliken, she had one guest buy over $500 at her party over the weekend. She had a $1,000 party. One guest spent $500. Adonis Ryan Lar, he got back from Bermuda and got back to work. He had himself a great couple of days, $1,600 in sales. He did some parties and an event, so good for you, Ryan. Cher Carlson from Connecticut, she did a $1,300 party. Beth Crawford had a $1,300 party, and she got her hostess and her guests to sing that $1,000 party song. And Lori Maury from Massachusetts, your favorite goddess liaison, she had an $1,100 party. It is incredible for me to watch you shine. You're making money, you're singing songs, you're feeling proud and confident. I love November. It's our Now month too, and Now stands for National Opportunity Weeks. These are the weeks that I ask all of you to share the Athena's opportunity and build your teams. Chrissy Shed, she had her first Now event and recruited 8 people in one day. Unbelievable. And just so you know, she's recruited 24 people in this session of war. Outstanding results. Olivia Lee has recruited 31, and 2 qualified, and 2 others are already at $900 in sales. And brand new goddess Robin Brzezinski from Illinois, she's been with Athena's for 45 days. She's recruited 19 people, and 2 have already qualified with a slew of people already halfway there. Amazing. Katie Amaro, 7 recruits already. It's amazing what we do when we put our minds to it. And to sweeten Now month, because of course there's already a great incentive going on. If you recruit, you can get entered to win $500 in free product and $500 in cash, which is amazing for you and your recruit. We love that. But I decided to sweeten our Now month by offering a trip to Mexico. All you have to do is recruit in November, and you'll get entered to win a free trip to paradise. All your food, all your drinks, the sun, and the fun will be paid in full by me if you are the lucky winner. I'm choosing the winner at the December BBW, and I cannot wait to see who wins. It makes me happy to take you places. So as always, there are code words throughout this webinar, so listen carefully. The code words let us know that you are here and they go towards your spoils of war. And your first code word is meat, M-E-E-T, not meat, M-E-A-T. I'm a vegetarian, so it's meat, M-E-E-T. So I'd love to take a moment to remind you of the importance of focus when it comes to learning. I know we live in an age of multitasking where you're on your cell phone, you're watching TV, you have your computer open. Guess what? When it comes to learning, it doesn't work. You need to clear the decks. My phone is over there out of reach. My little windows are all closed. I am here focused on this webinar. Our guest speaker is here and she is focused. So I'm going to ask you to do the same. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce this amazing woman who is here to share with you today. Kristin Cardoso from Swansea, Mass. has been a goddess since 2012. And her business got off to a bit of a slow start and then took off thanks to participation in vendor events. Whenever I see a goddess or Adonis on Facebook who's sad about their business having a slow kickoff, I always tell them the story of Kristin Cardoso. From slow start to top 10 goddess. Anything is possible if you're willing to be flexible and conquer your obstacles and find another way. She has become a successful team leader of Team Guilty Pleasures, even recruiting the top new goddess of 2015 that she ironically met at an event. In Kristin's time with Athena, she has served on the GAB committee, testing toys and helping choose the best of the best for all of you. She also won a trip to Disney from Athena's due to her amazing recruiting efforts. Kristin has become our resident expert on events, and she's here to share her wisdom with you so that you can grow your business bigger and stronger than it is now. Kristin, I am so excited to spend this time with you. Welcome to Warriors United.
Thank you so much. I am so happy here to talk about my favorite topic.
Yeah, so how you feeling after the trip to Bermuda? You getting back into the swing of things?
Absolutely. I had a vendor show that Saturday morning like it was nothing to do.
Oh, wow. Did you have some sea legs when you got back?
No, it didn't bother me as much other than almost falling out of bed that Wednesday night. I was good. I was lucky.
That's amazing. Well, you know, Kristin, lots of people start this business with little support from their family and friends, and that can be very discouraging. So I know that you initially, when you started your business, you did not have that support from family and friends, yet instead of getting discouraged, you decided to find another way. Can you tell us about that?
Can. As I am sure the case is with everyone, I was super excited when I joined Athena's. I followed all the suggestions that was given to us when we first began, and I reached out to all my family and friends. Unfortunately for me, my circle was really small, and my family was horrified that I was selling sex toys. So where do you begin when you have exhausted all avenues from friends who said they would help, but just couldn't seem to commit? For me, failure just isn't an option, so I had to figure it out. I saw an ad for a vendor event in Middleborough on Facebook, and I thought, maybe that will help me get started. That was where it all began for me. I had ended up being one of the best decisions I could have made for my business. As I was setting up my table in the morning, the bartender came over to me and booked a party before the event had even started. I was hooked from that point on. I just knew this was going to be the way to accomplish my goals. That one little vendor event set the stage for all my future successes. It wasn't an overly busy event, but it definitely was a platform that I knew I could grow my business off of. I would say about 85% of my customers I have or team members that I have signed over the last 5 years have directly or indirectly become as a result of a vendor show. That seems like a big number to most, but remember, my circle was small and it took a year or so for the other 15% to come around. My mom is still horrified, but she is supportive and that's really all I can ask for.
So you mentioned that you found your first event on Facebook?
I did.
So for all the people that are watching wondering, well, where do you find these vendor events? What advice do you have for them?
All right. Since I've been doing events consistently since I started with Athena's, I'm fortunate enough to be involved in many different social media groups that will help fill my calendars with all kinds of events. My biggest resource right now is fellow vendors. We have worked closely together over the years, and we have developed a strong alliance with each other. We often compare calendars to see who has come across what events, especially around the holiday season when there seems to be just a surplus of great events to choose from. I always keep historical records of what I've gained from each event, whether it's sales or bookings, so the next time the event is offered to me, I have a quick reminder of how that particular event was. If you have an unexpected opening in my calendar, I reach out to fellow vendors to see what they have for that day. I also check in with vendors when I find a new venue or event coordinators to see if they have any information about the coordinator or the event that could help me decide if it's something that I want to spend the time with. But if you're just starting out and you have not been active in the event circuit, don't worry. There are still many, many other resources available to you. Newspaper, yes, they still exist. Local expos are almost always advertised in local newspapers. Though you may be working with a limited time amount at this point, a week or two out, they may still have vendor openings. And sometimes you can even get the table at a discount because they're looking to fill those last remaining places. Check out their website or make phone calls for availability. I often am able to pick up events at the last moment and sometimes at a discounted table rate, as I mentioned. Organization newsletters. Smaller events are occasionally sponsored by churches, community networking groups, nonprofits, and more. If you are a member, watch their newsletters and e-newsletters for announcements. Community websites. Many larger communities have active interest groups with websites available. Those websites usually have an online calendar that lists events in your area. Another way is community Facebook groups and pages. A quick search of your city events or your city vendor should return a number of pages and groups that list opportunities for direct sellers, crafters, small businesses, and home businesses owners to join. You can even find events just by attending local events or as a guest by chatting with other direct sales reps. They know what events are coming up because they have them on their calendar.
Oh, that's smart. I'm sure everybody knows a Pampered Chef Lady or a Avon rep. What's a big one? Scentsy and 31. You know, you all know those people. They're in your Facebook feed. Throw it out there. Just ask on your Facebook page, hey, did any direct selling friends know of upcoming events? I bet that would yield some results, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So now, because we sell adult toys, it gets a little dicey if the event is in a church or a school. I mean, I've done my daughter's high school. I did a whole day event there, and I didn't bring sex toys. I brought Heavenly Goddess spa parties. So let me ask you, do you say you're with Athena's initially, or do you just say Heavenly Goddess? What do you do, Kristin, to get in the door?
Now, first of all, I've done one church event, and I actually had to walk all the way down, right past the pews, right past the front of the church to get to the hall. And I thought, geez, do I really belong here? But I killed it. And I did okay, and I didn't burn, so that was good.
Yes.
I have a few different things that I do when I'm requesting a table at an event. If I'm sending in a request via email, I always be sure to remove the mention of my Athena's website on the email and list the Heavenly Goddess website under my contact information. Rather than referring to Athena's Home Novelties, which does make people get a little nervous sometimes, I always use the name Athena's Heavenly Goddess. I do that just in case someone has registered for the event already under Athena's rather than Heavenly Goddess, or vice versa. There has been an instant when I was speaking to an organizer looking to get into a group, and I said Athena's Heavenly Goddess, and he instantly had a face of fear because he had booked both the Heavenly Goddess and an Athena's rep. So obviously I was out, but so was someone else, and that's unfortunate. So it is very important that you mention both names. It's just less problems at the other end of it. If I'm chatting with someone on Facebook or posting under a thread, I always post my Heavenly Goddess link so they can check out the product line before trying to investigate it themselves. I do not openly mention what Athena's umbrella is. I merely mention that our spa line is amazing and that there is something for all ages. I also post or send a picture of what my setup will look like. This will take the focus off the Athena's name and brings the focus to the products they will see at my table.
And your table is beautiful. You posted a photo recently on the WOW page, and it was gorgeous. Your setup is gorgeous. How many events do you do each month, Kristin?
Okay, well, as I said before, 'tis the season for vendor events right now. I remember before I came into Athena's, driving around with my daughters, seeking them out at church and halls on November and December. So this is the season. People are looking for them. That's what makes this prime time to be at them. Because of the holiday season, I am doing about 12 to 14 in November and December. Yeah. Outside of the holiday season, I have 4 regularly scheduled monthly events that I do. They're quarter auctions. And then I have about 2 to 3 other random events that I do in a month. So even in the summer months, I'm probably doing somewhere between 6 and 8 a month. I try to keep these events, I commit to just during the week or on Sundays. As successful as an event can be, I will always make more money at a home party. So I try to keep my Fridays and Saturdays exclusively for that purpose. However, if a party cancels, I look to fill that spot with anything as best I can. Last weekend, for instance, both my parties canceled a couple days before. I was lucky enough to grab 2 last-minute vendor events for Saturday and Sunday. I sold over $500 in products and made 12 new Facebook friends and booked 3 parties. I also met a host of new vendors, since these were events that weren't in my immediate circle, and they are all interested in attending some of my events that are coming up.
Beautiful. It sounds like you're building alliances as you're doing these events, which is so smart. You know, there are lots of times when I see people on Facebook, like new goddesses, saying, you know, oh, no one wants to book a party. I thought my friends would do this, would support me. And, there's always another way. I was thinking about it in bed this morning, and I'm like, it's like if a carpenter just went to a job with a hammer, how would they unscrew, a screw? How would they work their business with just a hammer? So in direct sales, yes, you can post on Facebook. That's awesome, but it's not enough. That's like a carpenter with just a hammer. You have to get out there and meet the people. And sometimes I engage with Goddesses and Adoni who are saying that they can't get anyone to book parties. And I say, well, how many people have you asked? And they say, well, I asked my cousin, my mom, my sister. They all said no. And I'll ask them, well, have you called everyone on your who do you know list? Have you thought about doing a vendor event? And they get a little scared when you say vendor event. They're like, oh my gosh, I just got into this. I don't know if I could do that. And you did it. I always use you as the example of what's possible instead of just sitting there, feeling sad and defeated. I mean, there's another way. There's another way.
And there are all kinds of events too. I mean, you have your church events, holiday season right now, church events, hall events. There, every Saturday and Sunday I could name 5 that I could be at. And then there are different types of events for that throughout the year. I don't do many vendor events in the summer. Nobody wants to be inside. Outdoor events are great, but even that, you have to be careful. So I primarily try to focus on ladies' nights events and bridal events. As you mentioned, the group that did that Twin River, that was the group that I put together because I was unable to do that event. And they knocked it out of the park. I mean, they did some amazing things. And
14 bookings.
I tell you, bridal events are, if you can get into a bridal event, bridal show season is January, spring, and the fall. I love me a bridal event, and I'm involved with many different promoters in the area. Bridal events are our perfect target audience because brides are always there with their best friends, and they're walking around and they're checking all these things out. Sure, they're looking for free, so I usually try to tell people to kind of shy away from handing out so many samples at these events because they can be pricey. I mean, when you have a bridal event that has about 750 participants, you can lose your shirt. So instead, we offer the experience. So when a bride walks by with their friends, there's always that one crazy girl that's in the group that says, oh my God, book a party, I'll go. And that is why I love bridal events, because that really is our target audience. Now, bridal events can be a little bit pricier. That is the downside. But don't be afraid to negotiate the price. The average bridal event, they're looking for $1,200. I have never paid anything close to that. Obviously, you want to go in with a few team members to bring the cost down, but I'm always very honest to say, look, the most expensive thing on my table is $27. So unfortunately, I'm not a photographer that gets $1,200 a sitting, and they will usually work with you, especially at the end when they're trying to fill those last few tables. And if you ask them, how many people do you expect to be there? They know how many people have signed up. And decide from there if that's where you want to be. But get out and try a bridal event. I'm telling you, that is our audience in most days.
You know, I love that you mentioned bridal events and women's events, because that's how we got Carrie Sellers. I love the story of how Carrie Sellers went to, it was like a bridal event, like her sister was getting married, so it was her mom, and her sister, and they were walking through, and her mom saw the Athena's booth and was like, oh, gross, you know, I can't believe that they're selling sex toys here. And Carrie walked right up to Juliette Fulgoni and said, how do I sign up? She just wanted to get under her mom's skin. And Carrie Sellers has been a goddess for over a decade, you know, so you just never know who you're going to meet at these events. So Kristin, my next question for you is, when you go into these events, what is your number one goal? Is it to sell, to book, or to recruit?
Okay. Booking a home party is always my first concentration. Getting into a new group opens the door for future sales and potential recruits along the way. One thing I do a little differently than most is I do not hand out business cards, because I know I'm terrible with business cards. I hold on to them for a little while, and then I eventually toss them. When I'm at an event and I'm face-to-face with you, I always ask if you are on Facebook. If so, I ask if it's okay if I look you up right now while you're here. And I say the statement because once you lose my business card, you'll lose me forever. Recruiting is always my second goal. Making sales is a short-term goal. However, building a team is a long-term goal. You spend many hours training them and helping them build their businesses at first. But when you nurture your team and coach them, the income will build, and so will your profits. So one goal will inevitably feed the next.
Yeah, it's smart. I did a like a little webinar with Amy and Lori and Cece, I think, and it was two Australian direct sellers, and they were talking about how when they go in to do events, selling is the last thing on their mind. It's always about booking parties. And they gave this great little tidbit of information that if you are doing a bingo or an event or a big party or your next event, have that there so that people know where they can find you next, which is just really, really smart. I love that. As far as displays go, I mean, yours is beautiful. Can you tell us, and anyone who would like to see Kristin's display, you can see it on the WOW page under photos. There's a whole album actually in the WOW page of people's displays. Whenever anyone, you know, posts their display, I'll drag it and put it into that album so you can see a lot of the ways that people are showing up at these events and what they're putting on their table. But I'd love it if you could just give us an overview of what you display when you're at your events.
Certainly. Because I do so many events, my stock is primarily Heavenly Goddess. Even if I'm at an 18+ event, I still only put my Heavenly Goddess spa line out. I've had too many times where a woman may be with Vavo, and I've lost the woman because Vavo's running by the table. So I always mention that I have the other things somewhere. You just have to look around for them maybe, but I only do Heavenly Goddess. I always make sure that my biggest sellers stand out to the consumer by placing them higher on my table or in a section of its own. Most people are familiar with Coochie Cream. So I always place that lower and not right in your face like some of the other less known products. I have noticed that people will spend a minute scanning the table for it, and with the name change, it camouflages it that much better. That is the basis for the whole conversation of how we change the name and not the product. I then point out the other favorites on my table, and now we are having a conversation that always ends with the suggestion that they book a free party to earn their free product.
Smart. So when you, which brings me to my next question, which is engaging people at events, because sometimes I've been to events and I see the Scentsy lady, she's on her phone, not even looking up, you know, and I go, you should be out front of that table, girl, with candles going, smell this, you know. So I wanted to know how you engage people at these events.
Okay. It's just like anything else. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. For those that are not as seasoned as I am at events, I would suggest you practice your pitch the night before the event. You'll only have a few precious moments to capture the attention of attendees in an event. And in a room that's filled with other sales reps looking to do the exact same thing. At the same token, it is important to treat others how you would be wanted to be treated. The golden rule. This is the golden rule that's told us to us as children, but sometimes it's hard to remember. If you were in the customer's position, would you want to be aggressively sold to? Or would you want someone that shows you the benefits, lets you order when you are ready, and truly cares about your happiness, not a quick buck.
Mm-hmm.
To me, there is nothing worse than a pushy salesperson. It is an instant turnoff for me, and I work too hard. I work hard not to be that guy. The most important thing for me as an event is to share why I love the products and show how it can help benefit their lives too. Remember, sales isn't about you, it's about them. Think about the direct benefits for the user. So for example, when I'm walking a potential customer through the introduction of the items on my table, I always talk about my top selling products and how they've changed my life and explain the benefits that it could have for them. Share your products, why you love them, why other people love them, and why you choose to sell them, why you love the company. Share, don't sell. That's what draws people in.
That's great advice. I'm going to give our second code word now, and it's, let's see, our second code word, what was it? The, T-H-E. Our second code word is the. I knew I could remember it. Second code word's the, so T-H-E. So you recruited a top new goddess at a vendor event, Melanie Medeiros, who just recently got married. Congratulations, Melanie. And she was a vendor at another table. So can you tell us how you network with other vendors?
The story of how I recruited Melanie Medeiros will be forever my favorite one. I was running a multi-vendor bingo, and a friend of a friend suggested I add her as a vendor. At the time, she was one of the top sellers for another direct sales company. She signed up for the event without even having spoken to me. We met that evening, and it was apparent that she was not comfortable with Athena's. Even though I was only displaying our Heavenly Goddess line, she could not have picked a vendor space any further from me. I always joke that she could probably wanted to put her table in the parking lot if I would have let her. Even with that, we became great friends. And we actually started to do events together because we realized that we were both very similar in our drives. And then 2 months later, out of nowhere, I get a call from her saying that she needs to become a goddess. The girl that wouldn't even go by my table had been watching me on Facebook, saw how it changed my life in such a positive way, and now needed the same fun in her life. The rest is history. I stay very close to the vendors I have met over the years. I love watching their individual successes, and they are some of my biggest cheerleaders as well. While I consider Athena's to be my family, my vendor friends are my extended family. My vendor friends are my tribe, and together we push each other. We often strategize together and make suggestions to help each other. It doesn't matter what your product line is, the desire to be successful and the recipe are all fairly similar across the board. Over the years, I have signed 11 people to my team that were representing other companies when I met them. But the benefits are so much more than that. We all share the same vision. We all want the same end result. But when you do it together with people that have similar goals, you become a force to be reckoned with.
That's true. So I bet that everyone would like to know what your top 3 do's and don'ts are when doing a vendor event.
Okay, top 3. One of my first ones touches on what you just said: engage, engage, engage. Talk to everyone that you come in contact with. This includes not only potential customers, but also other vendors, the event organizers, and even the staff working the event, such as bartenders or wait staff. I Facebook friend them all. They may not need you right now, but they could soon. Plus, by becoming friends with the event coordinators or the staff of a venue, you will be able to follow any upcoming events that they could possibly get involved in the future. Having said that, I use my Facebook account for my business. There is never anything but positivity and humorous things. Please remember to keep negativity off your page if you're using Facebook as a major marketing tool like I do. My next one, it applies to not only events, but also home parties. Have fun. Be enthusiastic. Smiling is contagious. I am not one to attack someone as they walk by, but I will smile. I will make contact with them, eye contact with them, and ask if they are familiar with Athena's Home Novelties. I love it when their eyes light up, yet a confusing look crosses their face because they're looking for the dildos, but they just don't see them. I always joke that Heavenly Goddess gets us in the front door, but the other stuff is closely nearby. You just can't see it. And my biggest one, most importantly, make the best of every event. In most cases, a basic vendor event costs you somewhere around $25. Think of how expensive marketing can be. When I'm adding people to my Facebook account, whether it's a fellow vendor or a potential customer, I consider that to be free lifetime marketing. because now I have access to their lives and they have access to my business life. That is priceless. And my no-nos. The big one, this is one I see all the time. Don't expect to make a table fee all the time. One of my most successful events was a Twin River Bridal event. That day, my team of goddesses and I booked 28 parties. We were over the moon excited. That is a huge event on any scale, and a huge success. Sales, on the other hand, were not so great. We only sold a single $26 bottle of Roar. It wasn't even to a guest. It was actually to the event coordinator because I explained the benefits to her and she had to have it. When I am at an event, I do not want to sell Supreme Cream to you anyway. I want you to invite me to your home so that I can sell Supreme Cream to you and your friends. That is where the money is, and that is what my ultimate goal is. So table fees, if you haven't made your table fee, that's okay. If you've made new friends, that's the biggest thing. And the one you just said, don't be the vendor hiding behind their table with their eyes attached to their phone. It amazes me how many vendors I see that aren't even looking up. It's almost uncomfortable to be at a table when their phone is clearly the most important thing in their lives at that moment. You reserve the time, and in most cases, spent money to meet people and be an active participant in the event. Play games or connect on Facebook with friends later. If you want to hang out and be disconnected from the event, stay home and leave the table for another goddess who may want to work their business. There are a lot of people that would like to take your spot. And last but not least, don't be overly aggressive and or interrupt conversations. There are very fine lines between being a go-getter and just being plain rude. If someone passing near your table appears to be in the middle of an in-depth conversation, it's best to wait till they're finished before you engage with them. This especially happens at bridal events because you have large groups of women that are all chatting. Butting into a conversation uninvited is a surefire way to annoy attendees and sabotage your pitch before you've even made it.
Kristin, I've heard of people who do one event, there's low traffic, and then they decide, that's it, I'm never going to do another one. What do you say to those folks?
Oh my goodness, that's the description of an event is what that is. When I first began, I had never really participated in a well-attended event. I thought it was normal to have only a few people pass through an event. Other vendors would express to me that it was a slow event, but I was still able to capitalize on it. There are plenty of events where it was just me and other vendors, but I never gave up. I just spent the time to get to know them. I would go to their table and ask questions about their product. It was a great way to connect with them. In turn, they would head over to my table, and I would get the opportunity to introduce them to my products. We really do have some amazing products that no other company offers. So share it with them. I would also share with them my successes and would often, at the end of an event, have to run out to get to a party. That caught the attention of other reps who were struggling to get parties on their calendar. As a result, I signed 4 direct sales reps at the beginning when I first started that wanted to be able to have parties like I was. Again, passion and enthusiasm is contagious. It doesn't matter if it's other direct sales reps or customers, make them want it for themselves. I don't care how busy or slow an event is. If you don't leave that event positively exhausted, you didn't capitalize on the event like you should. You're there to work, so work it. It may not be as easy as having people running to your table. Sometimes you have to seek it out, but that's your platform. Use it.
What would you say is the most important thing that you've learned doing all these vendor events?
Have fun. If it seems like work, you're probably not doing it right, and people will sense that. Events shouldn't be something you dread. They should be something you're looking forward to. You're getting out there. You're meeting new people, connecting with old friends and fellow vendors. And more than anything else, I love to introduce someone or something, someone to the things that have changed my life. Whether it's through entertaining them in our products or just allowing them the opportunity to get a few friends together and sit back and enjoy a night at their home. For me, it all starts with a vendor event.
Kristin, thank you so much. I appreciate you for taking this time. I know that your grandma had a fall, and I'm so glad that surgery went well today, and I appreciate you for seeing this through. I mean, most people would say, oh, sorry, I can't do it, Jen, but you really came through for me, so thank you. I appreciate you. And what an insightful and helpful call for the Warriors.
Thank you.
So now it's time for me to give everyone who's participating in this webinar a chance to win something. So submit your code words and your aha moment by midnight tonight, and you'll be entered to win a free holiday booster kit. One lucky warrior will win a booster kit of 5 demo products, or you could sell them or keep them, raffle them off, whatever you want to do. $351 in free products, and we'll announce the winner tomorrow. So here is the final code word and instructions to submit it. Fill out the Google Docs survey that was included in your email. Share your aha moment. I want to know what you thought of this call. You can find the Google Docs submission form in the email that contained the link for this webinar, and I also posted it in the WOW and More Facebook groups for your convenience. So click on the link, fill it out completely. It takes just a moment. And this is how we have proof that you were here to go towards your spoils of war. You must fill out your form by midnight on Warrior Wednesday to get entered in to win that booster kit. Can't listen on Wednesday? That's okay. You have till 11:59 p.m. on Friday, November 5th, to complete and submit your Google Docs survey. So now here's your final code word. It's people, P-E-O-P-L-E. It's people. So Warriors, thank you for being here. This concludes the 2017 Warriors United Learning Series. Thank you for being part of it. And remember, you still have 59 days to work your business and achieve your sales goals, your recruiting goals. Anything is possible if you're willing to work for it. And we'll be back in January with a brand new learning series to kick off 2018, our 20th year in business. And I've hired Grace Kiyohoho, a legendary direct sales coach. And I hope you'll tune in for the free education that is designed to make you a better and more profitable business owner. Until then, I'll see you in our Facebook groups. Thanks again, Kristin, and Goddess bless.